The music world is full of legends and theories, and the most popular are those that say the music star who died are actually alive, being hidden from society for many years. On June 25, 2009, news shook the world. Pop star Michael Jackson was dead. However, flaws in facts reinforce speculation that he was murdered or that his mysterious death was planned and that he remains alive, hidden somewhere on the planet. Did he fake his own death to disappear from the world? Theories suggest that Michael Jackson was spotted publicly on occasions that make many people reflect on the truth of the news. I'm still Jan Edgar, and this is Fear the Weird. The death of legendary King of Pop took everyone by surprise, generated disturbance in disbelief, and moved much of the global press. And what shook everyone the most was the official cause of death that was first reported as cardiac arrest, but shortly after came confirmation that the death has been attributed to an overdose of medications he had taken hours before bed. Michael was 50 years old when the tragedy happened, which at the time created a great debate and controversy involving his personal doctor, Conrad Murray, who administered the medication to Michael. Dr. Murray was Michael's doctor for the last 11 years of his life. For what reason does a private doctor who abandons his own career to dedicate himself to a single patient does not accompany Michael to the hospital precisely at the most crucial time of his life? People wondered if the drug overuse was intentional at the request of the singer himself. Nowadays, the subject of controversy has changed focus. Fans of the King of Pop began to investigate the strange occurrences surrounding his death, and from there emerged several rumors on the internet that left thousands of people puzzled. Was it possible that Michael Jackson was still alive, or rather living his life out of the spotlights in anonymity? Inconsistencies in the case have raised suspicions. The unusual media coverage of his death being one of them. When the most influential artist of all time dies, neither the hospital nor his private doctor Conrad Murray were the first to announce his death, but rather the American news site TMZ. An enigmatic photograph caused a lot of curiosity. The ambulance that transported Michael Jackson's body had the rear door windows completely black. But the author of the photo that was supposed to be outside managed to take a very clear picture of the singer's face inside the vehicle. But how was that possible with such dark glass? CNN News published a video showing Michael's body allegedly moving voluntarily for a few seconds while being transported inside a helicopter for a forensic examination. A person can only be declared dead after a doctor's signature on the death certificate. Both Dr. Conrad Murray and forensic experts were reluctant to sign. The family's decision to keep the coffin closed during the memorial service remained an unanswered question. It was alleged that during the resuscitation process the singer's face had suffered injuries, but the photo taken of Michael's face in the ambulance looked unharmed. Many suggest that the body may not be in the coffin during the ceremony. What also intrigued many was the fact that people very close to the artist did not attend the memorial, as Elizabeth Taylor, Oprah, Diana Ross, and the biological mother of their children. Some say that Michael wasn't only not in his coffin but have attended his own memorial. This theory was raised thanks to a mysterious blonde sitting on a privileged role at the ceremony. To this day, nobody knows who she is and where she came from. Her features were compared to Michael's and similarities were noted. For those who don't know, Michael Jackson has disguised himself several times in his life. He wanted to be able to live anonymously without being recognized and do trivial things like going to the movies or the supermarket. One of his great friends, singer Akon, once said in an interview that Michael wanted to go to the cinema but that he wouldn't be able to because of the harassment. That's when Michael called a friend who specializes in costumes that would transform his appearance. Akon went on to say that his friends went to Michael's house. They both go in a room, and hours later, when they left, he was unrecognizable. Before leaving, Michael asked Akon to call him Dave. This story reinforces the idea that Michael could be living in a disguise and reinforced another theory, the Dave theory. Many people believe that Michael Jackson is still alive disguised as Dave. Dave has appeared in media many times, but many people believe that he is Michael Jackson himself. Dave Rothenberg was a child who was victim of severe burns at age 6 that left his face disfigured. Dave was in a hotel when his father entered the room, threw kerosene while he was sleeping and set him on fire. The reason? He had lost custody of his son. The boy had 90% of his body burned, but managed to survive. His father was sentenced to 6 years in prison. At the time, Michael learned about the story and proposed to help Dave. Michael and Dave were friends for a long time, and that was the story of how they met. Older, Dave went to several TV shows and people thought he was actually Michael himself in disguise. Dave Rothenberg passed away in 2018. Some photos and videos on the internet suggest that Michael Jackson is still alive and circulates among us in disguise. One of the most striking is a selfie of his daughter Paris Jackson posted on her Twitter in the year 2016. A strange shadow in the background of the photo had a hat, glasses, and a silhouette of hair similar to that of the singer. After suspicion was raised that Michael was sitting behind his daughter, Paris decided to delete her publication. Another very famous video would be of an alleged appearance of Michael in Paris. Looks fake. See you and draw your own conclusions. Another curious fact was a news item published by the American tabloid National Enquirer in January 2009 that said in its headline that Michael's death would happen in 6 months. The mansion where Michael lived was daily monitored by a circuit of cameras that records everything that happened inside and outside the residence, according to a police source who was inside the house. However, the recorded images that could help clarify the moment of his death had mysteriously disappeared. One of the Los Angeles police chiefs told CNN that the investigation of the case remains very confusing and that due to the lack of evidence, it is difficult to answer some questions. According to the Empire News, Michael Jackson is living with a new identity in the city of Ontario, Canada. The newspaper reports that a week after Jackson's death, a mysterious citizen had moved to a small Ontario neighborhood. According to neighbors, a limo in a troop of trucks stopped in front of the property and a person surrounded by security guards was escorted to the door. By coincidence or not, shortly after the singer's death, Janet Jackson was seen entering Michael's Los Angeles mansion to accompany employees of the moving company. Then, she left the house with a huge truck and the objects were taken to a place that still remains unknown. In Ontario, the new resident known as Alan Pontifex mysteriously remains anonymous. No one has ever seen him, and when someone asks the employees who work at the house, they reply that Alan is a very private person. However, the house has licenses for exotic animals and a supposed music studio would have been built inside the house. Would Michael Jackson be living in Canada? Some fans call attention to details on the last 2 albums released. On the cover of one of them, released in 2010, a painting by Michael is highlighted in the center, and if we notice the lower lip, the words "Alive" would be written. And on his latest album, Escape, the second released after his death, one of the lyrics implies that Michael wanted to escape somehow from the life he was leading. Why would Michael forge his own death? Do you believe these theories to be true? Leave your comments below.